Hey, this is the first attempt. It's already going terrible. I'm using my phone. Hopefully this works better. I was using my laptop, and the mic and audio quality was pretty bad. So this will probably be a little train wreck, but 2 to 3 minutes, hopefully, just explaining my thoughts on this chapter. To start out, this is chapter 3 of Cherokee Women entitled Trade. It starts out really talking about slavery, which I thought was very interesting. I'm a history major and I don't know too much about the American Indians and their involvement in in the slave trade and being enslaved themselves. But what I found was interesting is that they would slave or they would sell their captives and certain members of their community if they chose to this demand. But eventually it just like all kind of died and flipped on itself as European settlers saw African Americans as more sustainable and a better option to work for them. I just thought it was interesting, and it kind of makes me question why we don't learn. At least in my experience in high school, I never really learned the American Indians, even restlessness before the Europeans came to America, and like the tribal warfare and the fighting among among everybody. I didn't know where we kind of paint North America as this like peaceful land, but it wasn't really that, and it's just interesting that I never really knew that, especially their involvement in trade with captives and people of their own like lineage. It's just like in Africa when rich warlords would sell slaves to their own people to the Europeans to take over on the Middle Passage. It's just really interesting, and I wonder why our educational system like doesn't set it up to tell those stories too. But and then second big thing out of this chapter is obviously trade. Europeans and their presence basically shift the gender roles or start to make the gender roles in the Cherokee society flip on themselves. The Cherokees become more dependent on European goods, guns, alcohol, products, and and Europe buys things back, but the only things they buy back are the things that the men can bring back. Sometimes baskets, they'll take baskets sometimes, but it's mainly deer trading. And what happens is that the women feel like they're not all powerful anymore, and that the men are starting to provide instead of be kind of a co-team, co-pilots bringing equal things to the table, doing their own specified cultural gender responsibilities. But that's starting to shift on each other because the only things that the Europeans will buy is skinning and skins from deer, which is the only way. Men are the only ones who go out there to get those. So a sense of frustration and anger, especially as the society's changing, and they talk about abuse and dependence on alcoholism, and just like these things and products are flooding into these societies, and they're making them question everything they've kind of traditionally known. Especially like the example of the livestock. They've never kept livestock in pens, but that animal husbandry that the Europeans bring, put the cows, the pigs, the sheep together. That starts to infect the Native American or the American Indians thought process too. And even when it gets bad and they need more hunters, then some women have to leave their children behind to go hunt because they need these skins to trade because they're so dependent on this economy. And it's just crazy to see. But this chapter serves as starting like a turning point. And I don't know if the book is going to progress or just kind of like stay around this area and even before Europe a little bit more. But this is really starting a turning point. You're starting to see, like, because of Europe, because of new products, and because of different ideas, the ideas of a matriarchal society are starting to be questioned more. So I think that's all I got. So thank you. Sorry if this was a train wreck.